Model X. Now, to me, that's always sounded like some sort of elite superhero fighting against the internal combustion engine. Well, actually, in the real world, it's not far off that. It's Tesla's largest model, a pure electric monster. Now, before we get into all of this, make sure you go to electrifying.com for loads of info and videos on how to go electric, and subscribe, because if we make this site a success, then, well, me and Ginny get to buy more cars and Tom gets to go for more facials. Now, if you were the first family on the street to own an iPhone or an iPad, then you're probably going to be a fan of this, because the Model X is the car for those of you with a healthy budget, but love the idea of going electric, but are a bit worried about the range and sacrificing the practicality of a large SUV. With up to 7 seats, space is definitely not an issue, and being a Tesla, it has a massively practical driving range. It's also a car where all the cool features are on the inside. Well, nearly all, because actually one of the best bits is the way the rear doors open. Tesla call them Falcon doors because of the way they swoop up and look like wings. And I assume Falcon because, well, Blue Tit and Seagull just doesn't really have the same ring to it, does it? And honestly, getting in and out of tight parking spaces, this is amazing, mainly because it has this double hinge, so the doors go up and then out. I will demonstrate this for you using, I will use my face and just show you, hopefully, that the sensors around will work, so it stops you basically smashing into things. Okay, here we go. Please stop. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, okay, well, it sort of stopped. I had every faith in that. They're not just cool, they're practical too, because it makes getting in and out of the rear an absolute breeze. If you've ever tried to squeeze through your car door to get the little ones in and out, then these doors are the answer to that problem. And then check out the inside. I love how minimalist it is. It's so calm. 2 things in my experience that traveling with children never is. But don't worry, there is plenty of space for storing things under the middle row, and the 7-seat version, all of which incidentally can be heated, comes with enough ISOFIX child seat points to safely carry a small 5-a-side team. 2 in the back, 2 in the middle, and you can also fit 3 child full-side seats across the middle row here. There's tons of space. When the seats fold down, it does a pretty good impression of a van, and it just feels modern and clever in the way that only a Tesla really does. Although if you're actually the one driving it, it's a bit of a come down to have a regular door, although they do open and close automatically. There's more good stuff once you get going. The Model X uses basically the same hardware as the Model S saloon, which is now a proven set of reliable mechanics. It comes in 2 versions, the long range and performance, both with the same 100 kilowatt battery pack in the floor of the car. Now, with the 416 brake horsepower long range, it manages up to 315 miles of range per charge. And the 611 brake horsepower performance is slightly less at just over 300. Now, both have a motor for each end and are 4-wheel drive, and they need to be, because there is a lot of power in this car. Now, even though the long range like this one isn't slow, hitting 60 miles per hour in just under 4.5 seconds, the performance, well, once you've set up the ludicrous mode, will sprint to 60 miles per hour in just 2.6 seconds. Now, that's faster than most supercars, and it can seat 7, which is crazy. I mean, there is nothing else like it. If you want to make half a dozen passengers yelp. It's even more surprising because the Model X, as mentioned, isn't small. In fact, on a UK road, it does actually feel quite big. It's wide, it's chunky, and you can feel some of the weight. At 2.5 tons without anyone else on board, it's pretty hefty. It handles well though, but you never get quite past the feeling that you're piloting a block of flats capable of out-accelerating a Lamborghini. It's not got the softest ride either. In attempts to make it go around corners without flopping over too much, the X has fairly firm air suspension, so it does jiggle around a bit on rough roads. Not so great for the passengers right at the back. Saying that though, because it's big, it feels roomy and airy, and that is mainly thanks to this absolutely massive panoramic widescreen. Tesla reckons it's the biggest in production. Then there's the interior, which features the usual Tesla pared-back look. It's a pretty chilled place to be. The overall look I love, but the materials and quality, well, it's only really okay for what is a premium car. Some bits of the car build don't feel quite up to standard for something that costs nearly 6 figures. Now, the touchscreen is the focal point of the front, which is amazing, but it can be a bit distracting and you do have to spend time getting used to the features. But trust me, it's 100% worth it, particularly when it comes to all the games and things. You can even get cozy and pop your wood fire on, warm up in the car. Or if you're sitting waiting for a charge, you can pop on a little game of Atari. Other games are optional, but this seems to be the one that I'm getting quite good at the moment. And it gets better the longer you own it, thanks to regular over-the-air updates. The tech is not all perfect though. This car has the full self-driving option fitted, and it's a £6,800 extra. It promises a lot, but it currently doesn't have much more functionality than you'd find in a cheaper rival. There are updates as promised, but they're not here yet, and it's a lot of money to pay for something which isn't finished. Now, when it comes to voice activation, well, that's a bit inconsistent. It's brilliant for things like climate control, navigation, asking it to switch on the radio. But if you're a bit more specific, like asking for a song choice, well, I've noticed it does get a little bit confused. Maybe it's my voice. The real ace up the Model X's electrical sleeve, though, is the Tesla Supercharger network. The revised X now charges up to 50% faster than it did when it was launched. And we've actually had stories of superchargers charging it at 300 miles per hour. True. But more likely, Tesla reckons you'll get about 111 miles charge with a 15-minute top-up from a supercharger, which is heaven in terms of convenience. The sat-nav will shout when you need to charge and send you directly to the nearest one. Then it will work out when you've charged enough to comfortably complete your journey. Genius. Then there's stuff like Tesla's new way of taking a test drive called the Tesla Touchless Experience. Basically, you get sent a code that will unlock the car of your choice at a Tesla location without ever having to see anyone or touch anything that hasn't been cleaned. You simply fill in all the forms online, turn up, unlock the car with the code, test drive, and then return when ready. Okay, it sounds super paranoid, but it's actually incredibly secure if you want to minimize personal contact. Or perhaps you just want to try a car on a bad hair day. So what do I really think about the X? Well, it's not small, but physics say that a 7-seater SUV generally can't be. It's not cheap by any means, and well, it's not always the most satisfying thing to drive. However, it is indecently rapid. It's really interesting and pretty much unique. There is nothing else out there that offers this mix of electric performance and also the carrying capacity. And it's also just seeped in technology, which I love. Plus, once you factor in the supercharger network, there is a whole host of things to get excited about. Now, the best bit, I think Tesla still feels like a company that pushes boundaries and plays at the cutting edge, and that is a lot of fun to be part of. If you like the Model X, then check out our Tesla playlist along with our other electric SUVs. And don't forget to subscribe. We have loads of electrifying videos heading this way.